You think you know the story of Rome, right? Legions marching, emperors in their purple robes, the Grand Colosseum, and the epic, dramatic fall. We all picture the gladiators, the philosophers, the conquering Caesars. But what if you told you that behind this familiar picture of political drama and the military might lies a truth far more astonishing? A truth that defines not just Rome, but the nature of power, wealth, and the collapse in any great civilization including our own. So, let's set aside the legends of Romulus and Remus for a moment. Forget the Edicts of March. The real secret to Rome's rise, the engine that powered an empire controlling a quarter of the world's population, wasn't just its superior soldiers or its brilliant engineering. It was something you've probably never heard about in school. A sophisticated, almost modern economic infrastructure. A vast, intricate financial machine built on rational self-interest, debt, specialization, and currency management. This is the story of that machine. It's the story of the ancient venture capitalists who bankrolled the legion's campaigns. The currency traders who got rich off the stability of the denarius and the logistics experts who optimized sea routes to lower the price of grain and wine. It's also the story of the systemic corruption that, like a slow-moving disease, rotted the economy from the inside out, centuries before any barbarian hordes even got close to the city walls. Today, we're going to peel back the marble veneer of history to reveal the astonishing financial reality of the Roman world. A reality that makes the Roman Republic and the early empire look less like an ancient kingdom and more like a colossal, debt-fueled multinational corporation. The common picture of the Roman economy is one of a simple agrarian society, built on subsistence farming and slave labor. And while that's part of the story, it misses the financial revolution that happened long before the empire's golden age. The real driving force of the early republic wasn't land but liquidity. The foundation of Roman power wasn't just the large estates, the latifundia. It was the rise of a new class of people, the Equites. The Equites, or the equestrian class, were Rome's first true financial elite. In the early republic, they were often forbidden from holding the highest political offices. So what did they do? They channeled their ambition and their rational energy entirely into one thing, making money. They became the original Publicani, the tax farmers. Now, tax farmer sounds rustic, but this was a highly sophisticated financial operation. Imagine this, the Publicani would bid for the right to collect taxes from an entire province. It was a massive auction. The winning syndicate, which was an early form of a joint stock company, would pay the Roman state the estimated provincial tax revenue upfront, in cash. This gave the government immediate capital to fund its wars, build roads, and pay its soldiers. Then, the Publicani would travel to the province to collect the taxes themselves. Anything they collected above what they had paid the state was pure profit. And the profit margins could be immense. This system created a powerful, self-perpetuating feedback loop. War brought conquered land, which created new provinces to be taxed. The Publicani would then provide the upfront cash from those new taxes to fund the next war. In essence, Rome had privatized its balance sheet. It outsourced the riskiest part of imperial finance, tax collection, to a class of hungry, profit-driven entrepreneurs. It was a brutal, self-interested, and the astonishingly effective engine for expansion. The Publicani were the shock troops of capital, turning military conquest into predictable, liquid cash flow for the state. This early form of private sector infrastructure funding was the secret weapon that set Rome apart from its rivals like Carthage and Greece. While other empires fought with the gold they had in their treasuries, Rome fought with something far more powerful: structured finance. It could mobilize vast sums of private capital almost instantly, funding campaigns and the infrastructure projects on a scale its competitors could only dream of. The sophistication didn't stop with tax farming. The Roman financial world was alive with complex contracts, loans, and the investments. The Equites weren't just tax collectors. They were bankers, merchants, and the investors. They underwrote shipping voyages, ensuring cargo against piracy and the storms. They provided loans to aristocrats who needed cash to fund their political campaigns, often at high interest rates. They invested in mining operations, construction projects, and the large-scale agricultural production. Think about the logistical genius required to feed a city of 1 million people like Rome. This wasn't a state-run operation, at least not entirely. It was a network of private merchants, shippers, and financiers, all working to move millions of tons of grain from Egypt and North Africa to the capital. They were motivated by profit, but their collective action created a stable food supply that was the bedrock of social order. These weren't just simple traders. They were managing complex supply chains, hedging against risks, and operating within a surprisingly robust legal framework of contracts and property rights. The Roman legal system, famous for its principles, was also a practical tool for commerce. It provided a predictable environment where contracts could be enforced across vast distances, from Britain to Syria. This legal certainty reduced the risk of doing business and allowed markets to flourish. An investor in Rome could confidently fund a trading voyage to India, knowing that his rights and his investment were protected by Roman law. But here's the crucial part. This entire system, this magnificent financial machine, had a debt side. The same rational self-interest that fueled Rome's expansion also contained the seeds of its destruction. The drive for profit was relentless. The Publicani, in their quest for returns, often squeezed provinces dry, leading to resentment and rebellion. Their exploitation became so notorious that it was a major source of political instability. Furthermore, the system was built on a constant need for expansion. The Roman war machine needed new provinces to generate new revenue streams to pay off the debts incurred from the last war. When the empire stopped expanding under emperors like Hadrian, this financial engine began to sputter. Without new conquests, the flow of wealth into the system slowed to a trickle. At the same time, the state became increasingly reliant on this financial class. Emperors needed their loans, their logistical expertise, and their ability to manage the economy. But this also meant that economic shocks, like a bad harvest or a disruption in trade, could have immediate political consequences. The story of Rome's economy is a cautionary tale. It shows how a civilization can be built not just on military might, but on financial innovation. It demonstrates how private capital and the public power can forge a powerful alliance to achieve incredible things. But it also reveals the inherent fragility of a system built on debt, relentless growth, and the unchecked self-interest. The slow decay of the Roman economy wasn't caused by a single event. It was a long, drawn-out process. Currency debasement, runaway inflation, the crushing tax burden needed to support a bloated military and the bureaucracy, these were the symptoms of a deeper disease. The intricate financial machine that had built the empire eventually became a threat from which it could not escape. So when we look at the ruins of the Forum, we shouldn't just see the remnants of political speeches and the religious ceremonies. We should also see the ghosts of an ancient stock exchange, a place where fortunes were made and lost, where the fate of empires was decided not just by the sword but by the code had logic of profit and loss. The story of Rome's economy is a powerful reminder that the forces of finance are as much a part of history as any emperor or general. And its lessons are just as relevant today as they were 2000 years ago. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the hidden world of Roman finance as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into history. Let me know in the comments what other hidden histories you'd like to explore. See you next time.